we'll probably
Point well taken there.
Yeah, we'll just keep it that way. Bob Hall,
Yes, sir.
thank you for joining us.
I'm honored.
Well, let's take a moment.
Okay.
Hall Brothers goes back a long, long time.
1896.
1896?
Yep. I'm fourth generation.
That has to make you folks one of the oldest dealers?
I think the word is we're like the second oldest dealer east of the Mississippi, as far as the International Harvester goes. When you go back that far, there might be a case dealer that's older than us.
So what have you heard from the early days when it all started? How did it start? You give us some history.
Okay. It would have been my great-grandfather and his brother was Manuel Hall, and then John Hall was my great-grandfather. Started uptown in Fort Recovery. The building still exists. Way I understand it, they started out with an investment of $750, and I don't know if that was a piece or together, but they bought some kind of a drag of some kind, and they turned around and sold it, and that was the beginning right there.
Oh my gosh, a simple beginning.
Simple beginning, yeah.
What would they think today?
I have no idea what they would think today. I can remember being up in the parts counter years ago, and people would come up and they would say, I can remember dealing with, my grandpa used to deal with your grandpa, and they traded their horses in for a tractor, and boy, grandpa sure missed those horses. And they actually had a buyer that would go out and look at the horses and trade them in. So we didn't have a stall or anything to keep them at night. We just sold them and they were gone. I think back then you only had employees. You might only had 3 or 4 guys. We're up to 34, I believe now. I don't even know how many trucks we own. It's almost 15, 16 vehicles. So we're all over. We spread out.
I was going to ask, how big of a marketing area do you service?
Might be one of our
75 to 100 miles.
75 to 100 miles in a radius. Yeah, it's big. It used to be 10 counties. I know they counted up counties a long time ago, but it's probably bigger than that now.
And you do come across the state line?
Oh yeah. Since we're so close to the Indiana line, they kind of consider us an Indiana dealer, I believe. Sometimes that's to the advantage, and sometimes it's not, but that seems to work out. Back to the history, if you want to get back to that just real quick. My grandfather was basically by himself for a few years, and then his second son, Richard, came in back in the 50s, and then my dad, graduated in college in 1960, and so that's when Hall Brothers Incorporated started. Was 1966. So we've only been incorporated for however many years that's been, getting close to 50 right now, and then my brother Tom and I, and then on Richard's side of the family, Jane, and there's another couple guys, Roger and Paul Evans, and then they have some kids that work there. So we've had our fifth generation working there. Quite a family operation.
So what does it mean to you to be 4th generation?
Well, you go back to that theory of where you've got your first generation start the business, second generation build the business, and the 3rd generation destroy the business. Well, we're in the 4th and 5th, so I think we seem to be lasting pretty well right now. So I guess that's another good thing.
Yeah, I think you've done well to consider when it started and all of the different time periods that you've gone through. To survive says something in itself.
Yeah. Well, in the Mercer County, our county, I'm not sure how Jay County stacks up in the state, but Mercer County and Darke County, which is to the south of us, are always number 1 and number 2 in farm production. So great-grandpa put the business in the right place way back when.
Boy, he sure did. We probably should, Floyd, do you remember when they opened?
I wasn't there on the first day, but I showed up a week later.
You gotta watch it. Floyd's the same age as my mom. So.
Oh my gosh. Well,
I'll
Bob,
stand behind Steve.
Bob, I do appreciate you taking a few minutes to visit with us about a little bit about the history of Hull Brothers. Gosh, that's just an incredible story. I think we're going to bring Doug up here and we're going to talk to him a little bit about the business today.